Alright, hey, hi, hello. How's it going, guys? My name is ZetaRayZod, and welcome back to another Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Now, before I begin, be sure to like, subscribe, and get that bell on to stay up to date on all my latest videos. So, last we left off, I kind of lost all my chances. I used up all my chances trying to press the wrong people, and it failed. But now, we're back at it again. I kind of skipped a little bit ahead because we started in the beginning of the process, so I had to kind of like pit 3 and 6 against each other. I pressed juror number 4, so she kind of said like, yeah, you know what? Must have been open. So this is where I got stumped. This is where, I lost all my chances pitting people against raw people, so... I did realize one thing looking back at my videos that I did not press her when she was talking about this. So let's press her again and see. The fourth book found at the scene of the crime shows very obvious signs of fire damage. And the title of the book is The Lion's Pride. The same title, in fact, as the book that Mr. Gerard told us he had been reading. Well, I really couldn't say. On the day in question, did you or did you not throw at your husband the copy of The Lion's Pride that he had been reading? I did. It was the first thing I could lay my hands on, so I hurled it straight at him. Now you come to mention it, yes. He was rather enjoying reading it, you're right. Why did you not reveal this information to the court from the outset? Because I couldn't, you insolent little man, I didn't remember. At times like that, you pick up and throw whatever you can lay your hands on, as well you know. I really don't. I've never thrown things at people. I barely noticed I was throwing a book. Much less the title of it. Ooh, you got something to say? Ooh, this is new. You got something to say? Number 5? What is it, juror number 5? You know something? I've remembered what it was. That the memory I blocked out. Oh, right. He did block out something. I was wondering, like, what do I press him with so that he can tell me what it is? Ah. I was listening to what this granny was saying. Brought it all flitting back. Ooh, you call her granny, cheeky devil! I'm Mrs. Scared Up on the maid, I'll have you know. The man doesn't even flinch. Please tell me that's not because he's so used to being kid all the time. It was about 2 weeks ago now. Just got back home after work, like. Put my hand in my pocket for the wages I just earned that day and I nearly died. There was a hole. Every last penny had dropped out. Wouldn't you feel it coming down your pants like, oh dear, what a disaster. You haven't heard the half of it, boy. Oh? The wife was cutting up some chicken at the time. I could hardly get the words out, but I told her straight. I've lost a day's wages, love. Next thing I knew, the blade was whistling past my ear. Stuck into the wall next to me, it did. About an inch deep. No words, just terror. I could smell it then, that god-awful stench of the Thames. I was sure I was going to end up face down in the muddy banks that night, I can tell you. Now, that's a real disaster, isn't it? Never use the word lightly again. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this. When women lose their rag, they'll throw anything at you. Knives, hatchets, hammers, you name it. Miss Naruto, you mustn't think that all women are so short-tempered or unrefined. No, I wasn't thinking that. Backs away before she does her Susato takedown. Throwing household objects at people is, well, it's so uncivilized. At least attack with honor, using your bow or the like. What? Attack? Who are you gonna attack? Never mind. Anyway, this man's words could be rather significant, I think. Alright, we'll come back to the bow and arrow thing later, if I dare. She has a bow and arrow in like a bag. Can we press him again? Your wife really threw a kitchen knife at you? That's right, she was chopping meat with it. Had a tiny edge on it, believe me. Still, it's all memories, isn't it? It started with that smile she threw me when recording. And since then, the list of things she's thrown at me has grown along with our relationship. There was a cup, then a glass, then a pot, kettle, chair, wardrobe, cooker, bathtub. Sorry, what? Wait, your wife must be even beefier than you. And things came to a head last week when she threw me. Right into the Thames. Still, she's not so bad when she's calmed down. She's a little sweetheart, really. I'm so happy for you. You want to know what I think? I think this whole idea of ladies first that we're so obsessed with in this country was thought up by some clever lads who've been tossed in the Thames a few too many times by their wives. That's a very interesting theory. What a terrible thought. On the face of it, this juror's statement sounds like a really extreme anecdote. But I think it might turn out to be an extremely powerful weapon. A weapon I might be able to use to make the jurors accept an alternative explanation here. Yeah, I gotta press her again. I'm just gonna skip this because we already pressed her, but I just didn't press her this time because I want to focus on the other two, so whatever. Yep. Bing, bing, bing. Come on. Damn, they talk a lot. Alright. Okay, let's pit her against... Ooh, yeah. Music stop. Legit. Those two statements clearly have a deeply significant connection. Good grief! You mean they don't contradict each other? Explain, counsel, at once. Juror number 2. Do you think perhaps that this could be one such novel alternative? Oh my, whatever do you mean? An alternative explanation as to how the victim was stabbed in the back. What are you talking about? We've demonstrated that the fourth book, The Lion's Bride, that was found at the scene of the crime, originated in Mr. Garrett's room on the top floor of his house. Therefore, it's equally possible that some other object besides the book could have found its way from the Garrett household to the street below. Huh? What's that now? After all, Mrs. Garrett could have thrown any number of different objects at her husband. Isn't that right, juror number 4? What are you insinuating now, you little beanpole? I'm beginning to think that ever since the true origins of this book came to light, perhaps she's had a feeling this might be what happened. Now you listen here, you Eastern Galah. As the foreman of this jury, I demand a straight answer. You give us this yarn about some other object making its way out of the house, but what? What was it? I'm really taking big gamble here. That was a bold accusation to make, but I haven't had any real evidence to back it up. But I'm certain that at the very least, this warrants further investigation. Alright, Mr. Foreman, I'll try to explain the defense's theory. The other object that found its way from the Garrett household to the scene of the crime was... Le knife! Juror number 4, Mrs. Garrett. What? What now? I must apologize in advance for this. But I need you to confirm something else for the court. This knife. Have you ever seen this knife before? Huh. Good lord, counsel, what on earth are you doing? That's the weapon that was lodged in the victim's back, man! Don't say that, Judge. Now she's gonna, lie if she can. My lord, remember that when the victim was attacked, Mr. and Mrs. Garrett were in the throes of an argument. Mrs. Garrett was hurling anything she could at her husband, who'd been backed up against a window that had been opened to clear the smoke, and through which a book sailed to land at the crime scene. You can't seriously believe that. The book was found in the victim's grasp. Are you saying that it flew out of the window and crossed the street to land neatly in her hand? Even my missus hasn't got an aim like that. Yes, I admit, there are many details we don't yet understand. But that's the point. That's precisely why we must not allow this trial to end. Not right now. Oh my. Mrs. Garrett, your answer please. Have you seen this knife before or not? You do, have you? Oh. Now we only have 5. My lord, who said that? I wish to change my decision. I'm a woman of my word, after all. Thank you, madam. Yes, I agree. I certainly didn't see this coming, but... I just don't think it would be right for this trial to come to an end now with so many unanswered questions. Mr. Foreman. I'd have to agree. Not that I think the granny did it, mind. Yeah, you know what? I'm not quite happy about this at the moment either. Altogether now, ladies and gents. Yay! We did it.
Oh, congratulations, Mr. Naruhodo. So, as a result of the defense's submission examination, a number of jurors' leanings have changed. 2 jurors called guilty, against 4 now calling innocent. Accordingly, the opinion of this court is divided. And this trial will continue.
What do you think, bro? What do you think about that, Fanzeeks?
Shut your pie hole. I got this. Now then, Lord Van Zeeks, how does the prosecution wish to proceed?
He's gonna throw something. This trial is rapidly descending into a farce. Like a corked wine, the first few sips are bitter enough. Yeah. But what follows is so repugnant. It's good for nothing save the gutter. If I may, Lord Van Zeeks, the defense has just put forward a credible alternative explanation for what happened. Credible? Is that your considered opinion, Mr. Foreman? The defense's argument is a joke to which I barely know how to respond, but let me start by insisting that you must all familiarize yourselves better with the relative positions of those places being discussed. What do you mean by that? What's his angle this time? It should already be more than apparent that between the crime scene and the Garrett household runs a rather wide street, Briar Road. Which means that the distance from the Garrett's house to the scene is some, yes, 15 yards.
Let me see. 15 yards. That's around 14 meters.
14 meters? Oh, that's a little farther than I imagined. And as you ladies and gentlemen of the jury rightly noted as having pretentious significance, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, a smoldering book wantonly hurled by the lady of the house traveled some 15 yards to land on the opposite side of the road, neatly between the collapsed victim's fingers and thumbs. Is that your final conclusion, my learned and deluded friend? No, dropped on the floor, she picked it up. Jesus. Idiot. And did the jackknife follow a nearly identical trajectory to plunge in the middle of the victim's back? This fantasy is somewhat stretching the notion of having a bad day for the victim, I think. Even those pathetic serialized detective stories have more believable plots. Ah! Come on, dude. Of course it didn't drop into her hand. She probably picked it up. I can see that.
That prosecutor loves the sound of his own voice.
Mrs. Sato!
Serialized detective stories are pathetic, are they? How dare he?
Maybe let's pick our battles here.
My lord, might I be allowed to speak?
As judicial assistant, you may speak for the defense. Yes, go ahead.
The prosecution may consider the idea of fantasy, but what the defense has postulated was believable enough to persuade the jury to change its leaning. And as such, the court has a duty to explore this alternative explanation as thoroughly as possible. To that end, juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Garda, must be called to testify and submit to cross-examination.
Say alive, a cross-examination of a juror? Order? 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 No, well, this is highly irregular. It is unprecedented for a member of the jury to be summoned to the witness stand. First of all, she shouldn't even be there. Dipshit. Sorry, shouldn't say that. Sorry, Judge. Sorry, Your Honor. And unnecessary. Lord Van Zeeks? There are already witnesses in the stand whose testimony the defense may further cross-examine. If my learned friend's farcical theory has any truth in it, and both a burning book and a jackknife must have flown through the sky before this couple's eyes. And you must assume they would be able to testify accordingly. What say you, witnesses?
Yes, sir. Constable Rowley be reporting for duty, sir.
Well, good morning, officer.
Sorry for dozing until now, sir. I haven't slept for a month on account of a villain who's appeared on my beat, sir. Oh, you're so heroic, these London Barbies. Patricia, my darling, I've been neglecting you. But no more. Oh, Rolly, my hero, make me swoon.
Alright, that's enough.
Very well, I hereby reject the defense's request. Oh. And order the witnesses in the stand to testify again. State forthwith before the court any details pertaining to the defense's alternative explanation of events. Yes, sir.
Oh, he's awake now. Nope, still sleeping.
This case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrett. Believe me, London Bobby's good for his word. You see, sir, the windows on the top floor of the Garrett's house are top hinged casements. Obviously, if anything had been thrown out the window, we would have seen it. I didn't leave the scene to go and fetch help, but my trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed. He was asleep. I didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment, sir. Nothing strange to report on that front, sir.
You were asleep.
Well, this is quite startling. Top hinge casement windows.
The frick is that? That detail was not in the police report, Constable.
Yes, sorry about that. I must have been a little drowsy. Ahem.
You cannot excuse your sins with drowsiness every time, Constable.
No, sir.
Sorry, but what exactly is a top hinge casement window? And you cannot excuse your ignorance with such trite remarks, my learned friend. Of course, sorry.
I found it, Mr. Naruto. Cast your mind back to the windows in Mr. and Mrs. Garrett's room.
Alright, I'll try. Oh, it opens from the top?
So the window opens in order to allow air to circulate inside the house. But as it's a top hinge casement window, it swings open along the upper edge, you see.
I'm glad you've rectified your ignorance. A casement window's most prominent feature is its stay. A metal bar which prevents the window from being opened beyond a certain amount. It prevents it opening? This all news to me.
Absolutely correct, sir. In other words, if a book or knife would have been thrown through the open window,
trajectory wouldn't have matched. It would have clattered against its pane and fallen straight down to the pavement below. No. You see the problem then? Good. Your education in windows is complete. There was never any possibility of either the book or the knife traveling 15 yards over the road. That is, unless the window pane has been shattered, something we've discounted already. That can't be. Just gets hit a lot.
See that, Rolly? The young Japanese man just collapsed in agony. Oh yes, my darling, I saw it. I saw how he crumbled before me. Oh, Rolly, you're so strong.
Jeez. How is this happening? I haven't even started the cross-examination yet, and already my argument's been destroyed.
Counsel, if you could drag yourself upright again, the court awaits your cross-examination.
My lord? Oh, good. Another desperate situation. Okay, let's see. Press. Constable Beats report.
This case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrett's. Believe me, a London Bobby's good for his word.
Yeah, I don't trust you. Oh, wait. Oh, present. Sorry, press. Can you say that for certain?
Very good question, sir. And the answer is this. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it as a reminder to all his policemen of our sworn duty. He showed us that before, didn't he?
Did he?
I can't say I remember.
He did.
To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man. It's what the job's all about. That is why I can stand here today beside the long-suffering wife and tell you that Bobby's good for his word. While rubbing my tired eyes, admittedly. Sir. Oh, Rolly, you're so manly. Of course I am, my darling, Patricia. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly.
No, none of this is what I want. I meant, how can you say for certain that this case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrett?
Ah, I see, sir. You should have said so earlier, sir.
Yeah, well. So, could you answer the question? That was a waste of time then.
Absolutely, sir. I will answer it to the fullest of my ability, sir. There's a surprising reason why Mr. and Mrs. Garrett's domestic dispute can't be related to this case. But before I get into that, sir, just one thing.
Yes? I'd very much like you and all your countrymen to understand the great British institution of Scotland Yard. So I hope you take back some tales of us London bobbies and how we uphold our guiding principles. I wasn't planning on going back just yet. I've only just arrived here. So, to that end, sir, I'll be happy to lend you my warrant card for your perusal. But I must warn you, you won't be able to get through it without shedding a few tears. Thank you. I'll try. Constable B's warrant card has been entered into the court record. Okay. Yep. Excuse me. I don't see how that helps. Oh no! Shit! Mistake! Oh no, I meant to like press further. Oh no. Mistake. Sorry. Okay, hold on. I didn't mean to press that. Sorry. I just get confused with like the Xbox controls. Why is percent? I need to press like other buttons. Okay, so that's the only thing, huh? Okay. Percent. Oh shit! Press. By which you mean they don't open fully? Is that correct? Yes, sir. They're just there to allow a bit of air through the house. You see, it's so restricted as to how much they open. Oh no! I got the hiccups. God damn it. Therefore, anything thrown out of the window from inside the room simply strike the pane and fall to the street below. For clarity, allow me to mark the map. Here is the location where objects would have fallen. What if she was standing there? And you know, she bent down to pick the book, and then she bent down, just came down and like stabbed her. Yes, directly opposite the scene of the crime on the other side of the rather wide road. It's so hard for somebody to mention this top hinge casement thing before. Well, I have another question for you, Constable. And what would that be, sir? How do you even know? Why would you have any idea what sort of windows Mr. Mr. house is furnished with? Ah, well, sir. That's very simple. You see, I helped with the investigation yesterday. Oh, you got something to say. Do you have something to add, Mrs. B? Sorry. You look, well, delighted. Is there some particular reason for that? Oh, I was just remembering. That's all. We really were so lucky. Lucky? What do you mean? Well, of course I feel terrible for the poor woman who was attacked. Don't misunderstand me, please. But we were just so lucky it didn't happen on Rolly's beat. It was so close, you see. Oh, I hadn't realized. Oh yeah, that street, Briar Road, that's the boundary between Rolly's beat and the next one. Is that right, my love? Constable B. Did you drag her off across the street? Huh? Oh, yes, that's right. That's the reason I was helping out with interviewing the occupants of the Garrett household yesterday. The house is on my beat, you see, so. That really was cutting it close then. Constable, I wonder if you could clarify something. If the Garrett household is on your beat, does that mean that the pavement next to it is as well? Outside Mr. Garrett's house? Yes, ma'am. The pavement on that side of the road is part of my beat. I see. I was not aware of that. Just think, if the woman had been attacked just on the other side of Briar Road, we would never have been able to go for that meal to celebrate our wedding anniversary. But that's the life of Bobby after all. Extraordinary people are Bobbies, tirelessly working for the benefit of all Londoners. Do you know what I think? I think it was the good Lord's way of rewarding my Rolly for all his hard work. Don't you think so, my darling? That must be it, Pat, my love. That must be it. I think perhaps you should make sure we have that information officially on record. Leave it to me, Miss Nadhoda. I'll take care of it immediately. Case file information. I'm not sure if that's important just now. Now it's my turn, I think. And the happened. But according to my notes here, the sun had gone down already and it was dark. Oh, but Rolly and I were strolling along, gazing at the night sky, looking for a lucky star. Sorry. A star that will guide us to eternal happiness. Can it guide you to answer the question? If a flaming book had cut across the sky in front of us, it would have lit up like the shooting star. And if I'd seen the shooting star, I would have made a wish upon it. If it had really been an expector, I would have said 3 times at least. Of course, what with the smog and everything, we couldn't actually see any stars. In short, are you trying to say that neither a book nor a knife crossed the sky before you? Yes, sir. That is correct, sir. I'm sure the night sky in London is starless, sir. It certainly seems like they're telling the truth. And then you saw the poor woman fall on the ground, so you ran straight over to help her. I did leave the scene to go fetch help, yeah. Yes, you said that you went to a nearby police box to fetch another officer. Is that right? That's right. Yes. If it had been on Rolly's beat, I would have known exactly where I was going, of course. Don't feel bad, my love. You can't be expected to know the location of every police box and every beat. So Rolly told me the way. Only, I sort of got a little lost in the way. Patricia, my darling, that's why I love you. Your terrible sense of direction is bewitching to me. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly, God. Jeez, that's enough. Oh, please. So I suppose I was gone for about 15 minutes? Well, like I said, my Rolly was at the scene the whole time, making sure nothing was disturbed. I was off duty at the time, of course, but True Bobby's never really off duty, sir. He was asleep. He said so. Nothing to report. That's correct, sir. I've had my eyes wide open the entire time, never looked away for a second. No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it. I could swear to that on the yacht's honor, sir. Really? That seems a little strange. Beg your pardon, sir. Strange, sir. Seems altogether regular to me. This bird copied the lines spreads originally in the Garrett household, so the question remains, how did it find its way into the hands of the victim? Can you shed any light on that, seeing as you were at the scene of the crime the entire time? Ha! Could it be a different copy, sir? One that just happens to be burnt as well? Even if that were possible, why would the victim have been gripping a book like that in her hand? As we can see from this photographic print, she had a bag over her shoulder. Well, sir, that book was in the lady's hand from the moment we arrived at the scene. Is that so? There's something about this statement that's not sitting right with me. 2 mysteries of how that knife ended up in her back and how that book ended up in her hand. There must be some common thread between them. I can't think of anything, honestly. Can I ask you something? Please, Mr. Lawyer, sir? Oh, yeah, of course. What is it? You're doubting us, aren't you? I can tell. What? I wasn't really, I mean, what's she doing? Please, just because I'm a woman, it doesn't make me my testimony any less valuable. You might just see me as the wife of a policeman, but I'm a woman by word, I mean, I am. I really don't remember ever suggesting that I doubted you. No excuses, I don't want to hear it. My voice will be heard. My lord, you'll let me speak, won't you? Yes, Mrs. Beat, I will allow you to supplement your testimony if you so desire. Sometimes the path of least resistance is the sage one. That was a very loud motto. I heard that. That Japanese man thinks a policeman's wife's word counts for nothing, does he? Well, watch out, sir. I might let you get away with something like that, but my Rolly won't. Duly noted, Mrs. Beat. Please, I humbly ask you to continue. What could she possibly be about to say, I wonder? I know I saw my eyes have let me down, my sense of direction is a little off sometimes, though. Yeah? Mrs. B, nobody's questioning what you've told us. I saw it, I did. That evening, I saw it clearly. The little Eastern man with the whiskers and the funny curved back slinking away from the scene. Huh. And I know what I didn't see as well. I didn't see any flaming books or knives flying through the sky. All very clear. You also mentioned something about having a poor sense of direction? Oh, yeah, well, that's a little embarrassing, really.
I'm always ending up at the wrong place when I've made arrangements to meet Rolly. He gets ever so cross.
Oh. You got something to say, sir?
Constable Beat, is there a problem? No, sir. No problem, sir. Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind, perhaps? Oh, well, in a way, sir. Yes, sir. I was just remembering that same thing happened that evening is all.
You mean Mrs. Beat lost her way? On the night of the incident?
Well, you see, I sent her off to find a police box in the next beat over from mine. But she's gone a fair bit longer than what I was expecting. I thought she'd be back inside 10 minutes, but my darling was gone a good 15. Oh, really, you're such a tease. But the reason it was so long is because of the bouquet, silly. The bouquet? Sorry, what bouquet are you talking about? Oh, it was a present for our wedding anniversary. Really so romantic. He saved up for it with farthings and hot pennies he found in the gutter while doing his rounds. Yeah, how romantic. I'd forgotten all about it until just now. Had you, my darling? Ah. Huh? Ah, oh, yes. But that was just between us. No talking about it to anyone else, darling. You have to promise. Really? Oh. What was that all about? Constable Beat looked very obviously troubled during that exchange. I'm afraid I can't offer any useful insight, Miss Naruhodo. But I'm quite sure of one thing. You have to ask Mrs. Beat about the bouquet.
Mrs. Beat, this bouquet you just mentioned, I'd like you to add details about it to your testimony, please.
Oh, really? Yes, I'd love to. Shut your pie hole, Van Zeeks.
Bouquet. You mean you dropped the bouquet at the scene of the crime?
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I was so upset. When we ran over, I saw it was a woman with a knife in her back. I was so shocked. I dropped the bouquet Rolly gave me. It was in a dark spot where the streetlights weren't casting any light, so I didn't notice at first.
And then you went to the police box to report it to the policeman whose beat was on.
Yep, and I came back to the scene together with the other constable, you see. That's when I spotted my bouquet again. But the funny thing was, when I went to pick it up, it was nowhere near the victim's body at all.
In case you need reminding Mrs. Beat, the victim is not deceased.
I was all flustered for a moment before I heard a voice calling me from the other side of the road. Your husband, presumably? That's right. Silly me. I'd gone over the wrong side of the street.
Did he move the body? He moved the body! He moved the body so we can go for his anniversary.
Curious indeed.
What a dipshit policeman. You're not supposed to move evidence, isn't it?
But the worst of it is, I forgot to pick the bouquet up again when we left the scene. That beautiful rose rolling by me with that change from the gutter he spent so long collecting.
Oh, he knows. By bouquet, do you perhaps mean the sorry solitary rose?
Oh! Yes, that's it. That's the bouquet Rolly bought me for our anniversary. All bits of change he found in the gutter.
Maybe just call it a rose.
Tell us, Lord Van Zeeks, where did you come by the flower?
According to the report by the police officer in charge of the crime scene investigation, it was found on the edge of the pavement in front of the Gerardep household. In front of the Gerardep's house? Although it wasn't noticed until the morning as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. It was believed to be of no relevance in the case since it was found on the opposite side of the thoroughfare.
Oh, thank you, sir, thank you. Can I have it back now, please? No, I think for good measure this rose should be added to the court record as evidence. Oh. But it's a symbol of our love. I want it back after the trial, do you hear me? I want it back. Good grief. Rest assured I shall do my very best not to forget. Mrs. B.
Crime scene. Let's press him one more time. Alright, I think we can call him out from the rules. Nothing to report.
That's correct, sir. I had my eyes wide open the entire time, never looked away for a second. No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it. I can swear to that on the odds honor, sir.
Really? That seems a little strange.
Beg your pardon, sir. Strange, sir. Seems altogether regular to me.
Wait, I already talked to this. How did I find his way to the man? Alright. Yeah, sorry, are you... Talked about this.
Well, Miss Naruhodo, what do you make of all this?
Yeah. The whole idea of an invisible attacker has been troubling me all along. But I believe I'm starting to get a picture of what really happened here now. The fourth book that had no business being at the scene of the crime made me sure that Mrs. Garrett was hiding something from us. But it's become increasingly clear that someone else has been hiding something from us as well. I think I may already be armed with everything I need to strike a decisive blow here. This time, it's going to expose the whole truth about this mysterious affair. Here we go. Only thing is, which one is it? I feel like it's this one. Nope. Something odd here indeed. The Behavior Council. I'll lower my hand to improve my client's innocence. As long as it's quite quick. Okay. I feel like the rose. I feel like he moved the body, but I don't know what sentence to call him out on. You know? Is it this? Nope. Oh wait. Is it? That reveals damning conspiracy in the last sentence? Damning, you say? As I look at you, counsel, I see your trembling hand, your pallid expression, and your perspiring brow. Seems to me that is the damning. I don't know. I don't freaking know. I only got one more shot though. Is it this one? It is! You claim Constable Beat there was nothing to report in the 15 or so minutes you're regarding the scene. But that cannot be. Get up! Get up! Jesus. What do you mean to say? In your testimony just now, Mrs. Beat, you explained to the court that when you arrived back at the scene of the crime, the policeman assigned to that beat, the bouquet you had dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby. Yes, on the opposite side of Briar Road to where the victim was attacked. But considering the size of that meager bouquet, if a single sorry bloom can be so described, no doubt it was blown in the wind across the street back into the gutter where it belongs. Meager. But if that weren't the case, why did Constable Beat not testify to the fact? No one else approached the scene and nothing was removed from it. Constable Beat swore to that on Scotland Yard's honor. But the bouquet belonged to me and it has nothing to do with the case. That's why Rolly didn't mention it, I'm sure. No, because sadly, it's not only your bouquet we're talking about here. More than one thing in this case case is mysteriously the wrong way around. What are you talking about? Think about it. Besides Mrs. Beats' bouquet, there's Mr. Garrett's book. Mr. Garrett's copy of The Lion's Pride, which was thrown out the window by his wife. Would have struck the pane of the casement window, landed here on the west side of the street. And yet, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road in the victim's hand. Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard, Mrs. Beats' bouquet should have been dropped here at the scene of the crime on the east side of the street. But in fact, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road in front of Mr. and Mrs. Garrett's house. There's no logical explanation for those things, unless someone deliberately moved them. What are you trying to say? Wait, you're talking something you think my Rolly's done something wrong. Don't you listen to what the scrawny lawyer says? Wittering on about books and bouquets, why should we care? It's nitpicking, that's what it is. Oh good, Mrs. Garrett's come around. You might call it nitpicking, Mrs. Garrett, but deliberately meddling with the scene of a crime is a criminal offense. It's called, witness tampering? Tampering, there you go, tampering evidence. But the person responsible for this tampering cannot admit to it, for a very subtle but compelling reason. Tampering? You barely heard the term before. Tell us, my learned friend. Who would possibly have had cause to carry out such elaborate deception? Yep, there's somebody who tampered at the scene of the crime that evening. All the evidence and all the testimony points to that one particular person. I think it's Rolly. Counsel, I must demand that you substantiate this conjecture. If I'm wrong, though, I'm screwed. It's gotta be Rolly. Roly-poly-oly. Obviously, there's only one person it could have been. Constable Rolly Beat, it was you. What? A policeman? A member of Scotland Yard? What nonsense, why would my Rolly do something like that? There's no one straighter than my husband. No Bobby works more tirelessly for the people of London. Mrs. Beat, you said in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to a nearby police box to fetch the officer on duty. 15 minutes that you were absent from the scene is the only opportunity anyone had to tamper with it. You're making it up. It's all nonsense. It's all lies. What about the Japanese man with the whiskers? I bet it was him. He did it. If that was true, Constable Beat would have seen him do it. Oh. And forgive me for pointing it out, but when you dropped your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, it was after the defendant had fled the scene. Well... First you make accusations about the landlord and his wife, and now you incriminate a policeman as well. But your accusations lack one very important thing. You claim the crime scene was tampered with, but there is only one reason anyone would commit such a reckless crime: to hide something. That's right, he's right. But my husband and I just happened to be there, that's all. So why would he have anything to hide? It doesn't make sense. You've offered no motive for this alleged tampering. And until you do, your accusations are nothing but empty threats. Constable Beat had a very good reason for wanting to tamper the scene of the crime. That's the key to this entire affair. Mr. Naruto, have you managed to solve this mystery? Counsel, you have made a very serious accusation against a London police officer. If you are mistaken, I'm sure I need not point out that your reputation as a lawyer will be irrevocably damaged. With that stark warning in mind, you will now explain to the court the motive for this alleged tampering. Yes, my lord. Constable Beat's motive for tampering with the crime scene was to hide where the victim fell. Because that's all, it's on his beat. Where the victim fell to the ground. That is what this Bobby had to cover up, at all costs. What? Where the victim fell? You mean where she was attacked? What are you talking about? I told you at the very start, didn't we? On the pavement of Briar Road. We saw it happen, right? Remember? It was right here, as if anyone didn't already know. That's certainly what everybody has been led to believe. But in fact, that isn't where the victim was stabbed at all. What? What?
I'm beginning to wonder when this tumultuous trial will end, counsel.
If that's your assertion, then the court is dying to know my Nipponese friend. Where are you proposing that the crime actually took place that evening?
Here. But that's
On the opposite side of the road? I don't understand. On the evening in question, Mr. Garda's boat fell darkly down from the open window above, and your bouquet, Mrs. B, never moved at all. What did move was the scene of the crime itself.
good gracious!
Perhaps you haven't been listening to the ample testimony the court has heard. But these witnesses both saw the moment the attack took place. That's right, I saw it with my own eyes. It was 5 o'clock in the evening and already dark. That was a typical London fog on the ground. When you saw the incident unfold and ran to the victim's aid, that was actually on the west side of Briar Road. No, that's not true. It can't have been. Constable Beat then arranged for you to be absent for a while by sending you for help. And during the 15 minutes you were away, he transplanted the crime scene. He moved all the things shown in this print, the victim herself, the 4 books. He moved everything, in fact, to the pavement on the east side of Briar Road. Extraordinary. But the constable overlooked one thing. What? Well, what did he overlook? The bouquet, I presume? Exactly. The prosecution told the court just a few minutes ago about the discovery of the rose bouquet. Lord Van Zeke said it wasn't noticed until the morning, as the way where the street lamps cast no light. Yes, it couldn't have been seen in the dark, obviously. Which is why it was only the bouquet that was found in its original position on the pavement on the west side of Briar Road. And that is the defense's theory about what really happened that evening. How do you respond? Constable Rolly Beat. Well, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to nod off again, but I haven't slept properly in a month. Did I miss anything important? Oh, Rolly. It isn't true, is it? What Loy said is all lies, isn't it? I know it is, because you're the most upstanding, righteous man I know. I had a dream. A terrible dream. All the things I did that night. Everything come out. Everything exposed. Only, it seems... it wasn't a dream at all. Good golly! Oh boy, what on earth is the meaning of all this? Oh Rolly, why? Why would you do something like this? Moving a corpse is a criminal offense, isn't it? Wishing the victim dead should be one too. Constable, explain yourself. Why would you do this? As a respected member of Scotland Yard, your duty is to protect the good people of London town. I can't say so. What? I really am ever so sorry about all this. For damaging the Yard's reputation. For everything. I know why. I have a possible explanation. For why, on that particular evening, Constable Beat felt compelled to move the scene of the crime. I can think of one reason. What? How could you possibly know? You foreigner are presuming to understand the mind of a Scotland Yard policeman. And yet, Lord Van Zeke, it is this foreigner who has uncovered the startling truth of the matter thus far. I believe it would be beneficial to the court to hear this extraordinary young lawyer's theory. Counsel for the defense, if you please. Yes, my lord. Now then, I think you had better show us some evidence. And once, my lord. England, Japan, it makes no difference where you come from, human emotions are the same. And I think I have a fairly good idea of the feelings behind this man's actions. What gives away the motive for Constable Beat's unthinkable actions? The rose? is Rose, I think. I realized that I'm a foreigner in this land, and I've only just arrived from Japan. Which is why all this information about London's so-called bobbies is completely new to me. I've learned that, though honorable, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world, for example. Keeping the peace, looking after the citizens on this beat is in all kinds of ways. There's no doubt that the young bobby is charged with a great deal to do each day, certainly. But for Constable B, the day in question was special. Special? How? On account of this bouquet, my lord. Oh yeah, it was our very first wedding anniversary. Constable Beat had worked so hard to be able to afford this simple gift for his wife, and was so looking forward to taking her out for a celebratory meal, when he and Mrs. Beat stumbled upon a crime along Briar Road. When he saw that shadowy figure through the fog collapse on the pavement ahead of him, what must have gone through the man's mind? Asa! Just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. B puts up with a lot being married to a bobby like me. I want to show my dear wife how much I care. This is the warrant card that Constable Beat offered to lend me earlier. Inside, among the rules for patrolling policemen, it says, when a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Aha! Constable Beat. Is that, or is that not, the reason why you moved the whole scene of the crime that day? Yes. Everything you said, it's all right. So that's it. It was all to do with the boundary of your beat. Oh. Exactly. To summarize, the incident actually occurred on Constable Beat's beat. Good gracious! Constable, do you realize the gravity of what you have done? It was the first time since I became a copper that I'd ever cursed God. Stay close to me, Pat. The criminal could still be lurking somewhere. As we ran over to the scene, I had every intention of doing my duty as a police officer. I've got to report this to the station as quickly as possible. But then it dawned on me. I realized where we were, where the victim was lying, and what that meant for me. When a crime is discovered on his beat, the policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Why here? Why did this have to happen here? And why tonight, of all nights? Why? It's a copper's job to guard the scene of the crime, so I told Pat should have to go to the nearest police box and fetch whoever was on duty there. It was then, when I opened my mouth to speak, it just came out. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my own mouth. It's the next beat to mine, Pat. So you have to go to a police box that covers it, turn right along Michigan Street, and then... She crying? Why are you sad? He was willing to let someone get jailed or die because of his actions. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, Constable. I just wanted just that one night to take my Patricia out for dinner. Oh, Rolly. Just that one night. You knew that if the incident was on your beat, your evening of celebration would have been ruined, and so you decided to move the entire crime scene outside your jurisdiction, just across the street to the east pavement of Briar Road, which falls under the neighboring beat's care. You see, I thought, well, I was sure the victim was dead, you see. I beg your pardon? Oh, of course he did. Otherwise my Rolly would never have left the poor woman on the freezing cold pavement. Ah, I see your meaning now. Okay, you know what? I think I'm gonna end this episode here. I know we're gonna end this chapter soon, but it's almost an hour already. I don't want to let it stay too long, because I don't know like how far away we are. Maybe like we're 15 minutes away from ending chapter 4 or chapter 4 or whatever. So I kind of want to hold on to that. In the next episode, we'll finish off chapter 4 and we'll start with chapter 5 immediately after that. So yeah, because I don't want to get an episode too long as well, because it might seem a bit too long to deal with. So yeah, for now, we kind of know what's going to happen. It seems like it's an accident, so nobody's gonna go through any shit. But for now, if you like what you see and you like what you hear, be sure to like, subscribe, and get that bell icon so you stay up to date on all my latest videos. As always, be safe, take care, and I'll see you when I see you. Peace!